I seek refuge with Allah from the accursed devil. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, and may Allah send blessings upon Muhammad and his pure family. O Allah, send blessings upon Muhammad and the family of Muhammad and hasten his return. We continue with the 5th class of emotional intelligence. Today we want to define exactly what emotional intelligence is. Emotional intelligence means understanding myself based on a deep knowledge and analysis of my feelings and emotions, clearly understanding where my emotions come from, how an emotion is triggered, how I feel excited, how I motivate myself emotionally, and how emotions affect me. After gaining that deep knowledge, I will move on to the second part, which is the control and reform of emotions. This means I will master my emotions. I will control my emotions. And in the third part, in the third step, I will take my emotions and direct them, or rather, I will seek emotions that help me in achieving my goals. I have a purpose in my life. For example, I want to succeed in my studies. I have already learned that to be successful, I need to study English. The most important thing to learn English is to have motivation. To learn English, I like English. So, my emotions must not be against English. For example, since I was a child, I have been forced to learn English, and that forced learning made me hate English. Now I hate English. I hate everyone who says hello. I curse them for not knowing how to say hello. Does this provoke me when I listen? It irritates me when I see someone speaking English. I don't like it, right? So this feeling, that negative emotion, makes me hate English. Meanwhile, as long as I hate English, I cannot learn it. Now, I say I have an emotion of hatred towards English, but my purpose, for example, is that I am currently studying for a PhD. I need TOEFL, I need to finish English for my career, but I hate it. Meanwhile, hatred dominates you and you cannot learn English. So you need to control that hatred, transforming it in a process that leads you to love English. To lead you to love means that after hatred, you need to convert it into love, to love English, and when you love it, you will learn it. Once you learn it, you will achieve your university degree. That process requires something called emotional intelligence, which means you master your own emotions to achieve success. Let's move on to the next example. You have your wife. You want to enjoy your young wife. You need to love her. If a man wants to love his wife, there are many requirements. What does that mean? Meanwhile, this man is going to date his secretary, as Chileans say, pololea. In the meantime, he is going to flirt. We can say, he is with his secretary doing inappropriate things, right? And he is considering how to start a new relationship with his own secretary, with his friend, with his, colleague. So she has her mind occupied looking for her new adventure. This will make you so busy that you will forget to attend to your wife. In other words, there is an emotion of seeking, of adventure, lust. Ambition, the temptation of Satan, all of these are dominating you, leading you towards sin and fornication. So in the meantime, he has his head filled with that. Not to mention the filth of these temptations, these emotions towards sin. And thus, it does not allow him to have the love of his wife, as long as you cannot express the love that you do not have. Then she will not love you, because love is transmitted through the eye, through the tongue, and through the heart. If you have it, that's strong love. Then 2021, you will express it without even realizing it. When you have a strong love for your wife, then the calamities of your life will not sour your existence. You will enjoy life. You will enjoy your youth. You will enjoy your young wife, everything. So, tell me, what should I do? Mastering emotions, sensations, provocations, and temptations that lead you towards sin. Killing that emotion of sin. This that provokes you towards sin. And awakening love for your wife and your family. Another simple example you have now is that the only opportunity you have is to work in a factory, for example, a car factory. Let's imagine. But do you hate seeing the machines in the car factory or the noise that is already there? The noise in the car factory, right? Now, if in the meantime you hate that job and cannot do it better, then you will be a weak worker and you will be expelled from the job. What do you need? You need to love that job, to learn that job, to make money. Now, if your goal is to make money, you need to love the work. As long as you hate that job, you suffer, which means it is a negative feeling and will lead you to another negative feeling. And so on. From a negative feeling, you will arrive at another negative emotion, and this dominance of negativity in your life will lead you to suffer. You are always complaining. Whether the salary is low or minimal, it makes him suffer. It hurts him. It will hurt him. And little by little, look, no manager, no factory owner would allow a person who does not work well to continue in their company. That is why we see many young people entering a company or a job. And because they have not developed their emotional intelligence, they become disappointed in a short time, lose the desire to go to work, and are about to lose it. But on the contrary, you will see that a young person loves their work. For example, that young person is studying mathematics, loves mathematics, and will become an excellent mathematics teacher because they teach with love, with fervor, because they love it. This means that perhaps unknowingly they have an emotion that drives them to love mathematics and that leads to success in their work. But how many people can you name who hate their job and because of that are failing more and more each day, losing more money? He is talking about material things. In spiritual matters, it is even more important. In corn, listen to it. Guardian of your heart, do not allow anything to enter your heart except for the love of God. What does it mean? When a person has the love of God present in their heart and is a guardian of their heart, they would not allow any other worldly love, love of power, love of ambition, love of lust, love of things. We can say worldly, satanic, cursed, to enter their heart. So that person dedicates their whole life to God throughout their life with love and fervor. They will be a believer and will dedicate their life to God by serving others, and that person will have a happy ending. On the contrary, when a person has a love for power, ambition, or lust, an emotion that leads them to fall into sin, that person cannot protect the love of God in their heart, because when the love of a sin enters your heart, you love committing that sin, then you will not be able to love God at that very moment. You cannot love God at the same instant that you are loving sin and seeking ways to indulge in that sin. Why? Because you have allowed your mind to be dominated by a diabolical emotion. You have permitted the temptations of Satan to provoke you. How does Satan manipulate us? It is an important question. Satan manipulates us through emotions. Satan never has logic in his words. He will never give you, for example, a logical argument. No, it always presents you with a pretext that ultimately ends up in fanaticism, hatred, or love for something that is emotional. Satan never says, look, commit that sin, and through that sin you will enter hell. Look at this logic. No. Satan will never tell you that. He always lies to you. For example, it says, look, now you have that money available. If you steal that money, you will be happy. Satan is provoking me to steal that money. He is awakening an emotion to lead you, or rather, to cause you to fall into sin. So it says, if you steal that money, you will be happy. It's a lie. Because when a person goes to steal money, they are under a curse. When it comes into their life, they will always be worried. Their conscience will bother them. They will suffer because the stolen money will take away their happiness. For example, many times people think that smugglers and drug traffickers have a happy life, and they think, oh, when there is a lot of money, there are women, there is everything. No. That person will be very focused on the large amounts of money they will acquire. So they will always have a life filled with crimes, a life full of curses, a life full of hatred. Drug traffickers will reach a point of hatred, and they may even kill their closest relatives, their wife, their child, their brother. You will see that if a person is going to turn their life into such an unhappy, hellish, cursed existence that they would kill their own wife, their own brother, it will lead to the worst crimes coming from someone whose life is cursed, marked by Satan. And all of this comes from an emotion. Why are you doing this? Oh, Mr. Drug Trafficker, do you know that drugs harm the lives of human beings? If I don't care why he does it, I seek what I like, money. It's an emotion. It's a worldly love. I don't care about the consequences. When they say they don't care about the consequences, what does it do to your intellect? The intellect means that through logic, it will lead you to understand the consequences. Why not consume the drug? The emotion tells you no, consume it, you will like it. It has a lot of flavor, enjoy life, and it doesn't matter. Look, that is the word that Satan is not saying. They are emotions. Those are what destroy a life. And on the other side, we have logic, intellect. When intellect dominates emotions, it will make you happy. What does that mean? When an emotion wants to lead you to a behavior, to an act, then the intellect should break, wait, and stop. Where are you going, Mr. Emotion? Where are you going? Where do you want to take me? So you say, well, look, the drug, the cigarette is going to give you a lot of desire. It's going to give you a lot of pleasure, which means through an emotion. So shut up, shut up. Before indulging in pleasure, I will think about the consequences. Then I will consider whether using drugs, alcohol, engaging in fornication, or betrayal will harm my future. It will damage this, and it will distance me from God, who is the source of blessing and light. And so when I think about all the consequences, then no, it's not worth it. I can't call that enjoyment. That's not joy. It's a curse. It's a total consequence for my life. I will not accept it. I will not fall into the curse of sin. So when the prophets of God, the devoted men of God, are those whose intellect dominates their emotions, when a girl passes by, a pretty girl, he likes her, closes his eye and says, God, protect me. God, I ask for help. I don't want to fall into the emotion that leads me to sin, which has many consequences. If he is a priest, I do not allow my lust to dominate me. If I am going to fall into this capital sin, I am going to be a pedophile priest. I am going to be a fornicator priest. I am not going to do it, because tomorrow, if I do such a thing, people will expel me from the church. I am going to lose all these years of work for God. Everything will never fall into this. It means the root of all sins. It is what Imam Ali says. The love for the material world, worldly love, is the root of all failures, of all sins. If you want to control your life and achieve success, how can you control life? Through emotional intelligence. That is to say, intelligence governs your emotions, not that emotions govern your life. So in the supplication, when God is going to set conditions for the prophets, what does that say? They are like that. The spiritual path is gradual and requires patience, dedication, and continuous effort. It is a journey that unfolds over time, with each step bringing one closer to divine understanding and enlightenment. So in this stupidity that we read, God, you have placed a condition for all your men. If a person wants to be a prophet, God would set a condition. Asdod indeed means absolute piety. At a point of abstinence from material things, when you no longer have love for the material world, you no longer love power, you no longer love lust, you no longer love... We can say that what Satan calls enjoyment is not that. But what you love is to love God and to have love for your neighbor, serving your neighbor. Then that person will be a blessed individual, they will be a prophet. Everything they do is a blessing. It will be Jesus, it will be a prophet. Muhammad, peace be upon him. It means everything that is happening. On the contrary, if a person allows their emotions, their lust, their ambition to dominate them, they have no self-control, no abstinence from material things, and they are not a devoted person. What does it do? Any desire, it seeks to fulfill any will, be like the kings, will be like Trump, will be like Obama, will be like Netanyahu, will turn into a butcher. He doesn't care how to gain power, because the only thing that matters to him is reaching power. On the contrary, all politicians are bad. Does it depend on why he became a politician or why he came to power? Yes, we have a governor. When he is already abstinent from worldly things, he will be Ayatollah Sheikh Qomi, a man of God. Wherever he is, he has the blessing of God. Wherever it is, it brings the blessing of God because it has had the abstinence from worldly things. Asharata to the church, Mudo of shaving to YouTube of Mrs. Daniel. In every degree of the maternal world, they have that devotion. In every degree of the material world, they have this abstinence that helps him to be a man of God, a blessed man. And these people are those whom God says, the men of God are those who will not have sadness and will not fear the future, nor grieve over what has happened, because they have lived their whole lives for God. However, the people who have fallen into the emotion that led them to sin, when they think of betrayal, it harms them. They suffer. They suffer. That is one of the consequences of sins. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, in a supplication in the book Saif es Ajodiyeh, says, O God, protect me from sins that at first glance seem to have the flavor of enjoyment, but after the sin, the only thing that remained was the consequence of the curse. Sins may fade away, but curses remain. One person suffers their whole life, and you will see that this person has a lot of money, yet their life is cursed, marked by misfortune. They are suffering because there is so much conflict in a life, in a family where everyone is seeking money. However, you will see a humble life of a poor farmer filled with joy and happiness because there is faith. They are the ones who can control their ambition and their emotions towards sin. Very well, in the next class we will go into more details about how emotional intelligence can help us. Very well. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.